Okay, up next, we have a wonderful fellow Naomi. We've had a lot of Naomis on the show, but this Naomi is local. She came right over from North Woodmere to our Nachum Siegel Network studio in Woodmere, our off-site campus. So welcome, Naomi Joseph. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm amazing, and I'm so full of energy listening to you do all of the other interviews. You're incredible.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, you've got quite a journey that you've had yourself, and I really wanted my followers to share this, to find some inspiration for the new year, a week away till Rosh Hashanah. And I think you have a great story to tell.
Thank you so much. So I've just finished writing my very first book. It's called Binge and Sprint, An Orthodox Jew's Journey from Endless Cake to Recovery. And it talks about my 40-year journey through binge eating.
What do you mean by binge eating? Let's just clarify that because...
Okay, so let me explain what a binge looks like. And I'm sure many of the listeners may hear my description and think, oh, that girl's got nothing on me. I'm much worse than that. And some people may say, wow, I feel so much better after listening to her because now I realize I'm really not so bad at all compared to her.
Right, you're in the middle there for some people, yeah.
So binge eating is, I'll tell you, if there were a secret camera in my kitchen, what you would see would be me coming in to the kitchen, and binging is done in private. It's done in secret. And so depending upon how stealthy you are, either the people in your family would know that you are binge eating or they wouldn't know that you are binge eating. And I would have a look on my face. If the camera were looking at me, I would have a look on my face of distracted and anxiety and just sort of zoned out. And then you look through your cabinets and your refrigerator and your freezer and you start putting together concoctions that make no sense, that are very, very caloric. And so you could take frozen stale hot dog buns and dip them alternately in Nutella and jelly that was opened before the flood, and cereal with your kid snacks in it, or drizzled in honey, or anything caloric.
And you would just eat it?
And just shove insane amounts of food down your throat.
I've heard of binge eating before, but I didn't realize what it was.
Yes. So
I thought you just ate an entire packet of potato chips at once.
No. So binge eating, and when you're in it, you don't even know what you're doing. And it's very time consuming. It's a huge time suck, which it could last an hour, it could last 45 minutes. And then when you're done, you don't even know what you ate. And unless then there's evidence, there's crumbs, there's wrappers, and you kind of don't even remember. But what it does may I go on and say, okay. So
yeah, listen to that because I've never.
So what it does for you is it just sort of, I call it using cake as fortitude. It just sort of gets you to a place where you can then go on, which is the name of my book, the term that I've coined, binge and sprint. So especially in the Jewish community, when there's so much pressure on us, especially as women, to be productive and always in the house, doing something constructive, not just, laying about, but always having to do and to accomplish. And it just sort of helps you get from one place to another. It helps you transition. So let's say you come home from a whole day of work, but then you have to take care of your family. You use the binge to sort of transition you. And really you think it's giving you, again, cake is fortitude, but really what it does is it just sort of numbs you so that you can stuff a feeling or fill a void so that you could go on.
You see, I'm completely speechless. I didn't know this is a thing.
A lot of people, and you would be so surprised. And it's counted for people that have come forward within the United States for binging, 2.8 million people. And those are just the people that have come forth with it. There's estimated really about over 5 million people in the United States
that are doing
alone.
this whole stuff your face with
Yes. And all done in secret, taking the wrappers and putting it on the bottom of the garbage so nobody knows. And yeah, So it's really, it's a drug. It's like the good girl's drug, food.
Wow. I mean, I guess maybe I have a healthy relationship with food. On Shabbos, I eat too much, and that's why I, gained weight. But
It's
not
lovely to
from
have.
not from sneaking
Right.
food. Like, I'm very public. Everybody knows when I'm eating something. 30,000 people are watching.
And I think that that is the goal, to have that healthy relationship with food and to be able to eat one or two cookies for joy, for a
Right.
little bit of joy.
Goldie's smiling. Goldie
Exactly.
Seabrow. Right. Right. Everything in moderation. I
Right.
learned this from my friend Naomi TGIS from Instagram. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Yes. Oh my God,
Isn't
I
that
love
great?
that.
Naomi,
I
she
love
told me
that.
she heard it from someone else, but
Another Naomi.
another
Doing
Naomi,
good.
another
There you go.
Naomi-ism. There's a few Naomi Ross as well. I just feel like I'm very open about my food, and my kids are very open about food, and we eat in balance. Like, we eat tons of healthy food and salads and challahs and dips, even though that's not like, it's a little caloric, but we eat on Shabbos, and we have cake and coffee and coffee a lot on Shabbos, and tea and cake, but no one's doing it in secret. But then again, during the week, we're like watching what we're eating in moderation.
And
like,
all of that is beautiful. And just two things I want to say about that, because that really is the goal, to be able to have that healthy relationship, to be able to have a piece of cake and then walk away. But what a binge eater does is they feel so guilty and so terrible, because most binge eaters are perfectionists, and they feel that unworthy because they did something wrong and bad by eating the cake, and then they just go ahead and say, well, I blew it, and then shove a whole thing of cookies down their throat without even enjoying it in secret. So to be able to learn to have that cookie, to have that piece of cake, enjoy it, and then walk away and not think about it, that is a huge mountain to climb for a binge eater. And then the other thing that I want to say is, binge eaters know, they know all this information. They know that, yes, of course you can enjoy on Shabbos, and that's part of Shabbat, that you should be able to enjoy,
Yes.
and all the chagim, and to have and to taste it. And that's really our culture, is through food, and to taste all of those beautiful things, and to have the chag in every sense, physical sense of the word as well. But binge eating doesn't come from knowledge of food. It has nothing to do with food. It comes from something much deeper.
So one might need therapy.
Yes.
I don't
would
want to
think
say it
so.
like quiet. Say it loud. Therapy.
Yes.
Everyone probably needs therapy. It used to be we'd say therapy like this, but now it's therapy. It's healthy, and especially now with the whole quarantine, we're talking about mental health all the time.
Yes.
I have a foodie friend that's a guy. A big shout out to Sruli. I was going to say Sruli Cooks is his Instagram name. I've had him on the show before. And he's really pushing a lot of mental health now. And a lot of people are pushing it. Like, keep your head above water. I know
Yes.
quarantine was super hard for me. I did not turn to food.
Well, a lot of people have. I mean, you've heard the expression, I've gained the COVID-19.
Oh, I call it quarantine 15.
And people are at war with the refrigerators. And so I think
Right.
that this is just a very timely subject
Right.
to be speaking about. And it's really about, I love that you said therapy. It is about going back to
Absolutely.
the root of it, because when you have a void, you can't fill a void. The only way to get rid of it is to get to the root of it and just pull that sucker out like a bad tooth, right? That's the only way to do it, is to get to the root of things. Where did it come from, and what are the feelings that it produced, and where do you go from there, and how do you deal with that? And it's really about building your self-esteem, knowing that you are a child of God, and that you are a daughter of a son of a king, and that you house your soul, which is godly. And therefore, you need to take care of your body. And it's not a sin for self-care. A lot of people really don't think that they deserve it.
I run around like a crazy person. Like, I have a busy schedule from morning till night. Like, I work 15, 16 hours a day. If it's a collaboration, a work, a catering, radio show. But like every morning, like opening up, I take a bath every morning because I want to relax for 20 minutes. And that's my time, and it sets me for the whole day. And then I get up, and then I get out, get dressed, daven, have my coffee. That is my day. Goldie knows actually this. I actually encourage my followers to do that this year, that we should daven every morning, like once you're showered and dressed. And out of the whole year, it's part of your whole self-care thing, because you have to it's like davening is meditation as well, right? So I think, you know how many, that's from when I started last year till today, I missed, okay, so I had rules. So I said, everyone, let's do a whole year of davening without missing chakras. Chakras I was talking about, without missing. But sometimes you get busy and so you forget, right? Now, I don't know if any of you know, I've been traveling. I basically traveled heavily from Motzei Sukkot, Simchas Torah, until Corona started. I traveled very heavily. I was on a plane once a week. So really, even then, even when it was Corona, I was busy. I did a ton of Zoom classes. I kept myself very busy. In the entire, so if I missed a davening, I made it up within a week at Mincha. I didn't, Mincha was, so it should be that I didn't miss that Shemona Esrei within that 1 week 9 times. A whole year. We're up to almost 365 days. I only missed davening 9 times. It's not a lot, right? I was
single digits.
That I was so proud of myself. And once was this week. I wasn't feeling well one day. I kept saying, I'll daven, and I forgot. But within that week, I made up Mincha before Shabbos, so I felt like I got in my but part of davening is just taking time from. I had the bath in the mornings, me time, and then davening me and Hashem, because without Hashem, we don't have me time. So I kind of all incorporated it in there, and then I would go for my coffee. Now I'm tying it into food. That first sip of coffee in the morning, cannot talk to anyone, make my bracha, and that first sip, because you can't repeat with the second sip. That first sip of coffee during the day is my third self-care bath, davening, and the coffee. Every morning without fail. Just so I can go, savor the moment for 10 seconds and then move on, 5 seconds. And then I feel like I can handle the world with that.
It's not only that, I have to tell you, I'm so happy that you brought up davening. I think it's such an important thing to do for a binge eater. The reason is that part of the binge, and again, the binge and then the sprint, has to do with so much pressure. You feel like you need to take care of everything by yourself. You feel like if you don't get everything done and get it done perfectly, that the world may, in fact, blow up, right? So when you daven, it just reminds you that you don't run the world.
No, we don't. I think
you don't run the world.
We've learned that now more than ever with Corona.
Yes. It reminds you that you don't run the world, and then it takes the pressure off of you. You understand that Hashem, you're under his wing, and he is with you, and that you don't have to turn to food. It's not going to help you. Hashem is going to help you if you turn to him. And the other thing that I wanted to say was, it's so funny that you brought up davening, because one of the things, through my 40-year journey, I also talk about, I had a 10-year battle with infertility. We were married, which was crazy, moving to this neighborhood, being married 10 years and not having kids. Could you even imagine? The stories that I have about that.
I can imagine. I do a lot of work with A-Time.
Oh, me too. I love A-Time. They helped me so much. Well, that's like a whole separate issue.
And I love you.
There's a whole.
I run their online Chinese auction.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an amazing auction.
Yeah. So I'm the ZK is the back of house. He live streams it, and I'm
the prizes there are incredible.
Yeah. So yeah. Did anybody watch that? And you all know, but the prize that I'm talking about. Hello. My husband is here. He's going to say hello. I don't think we've ever had Tzvi on camera before on the Nachum Siegel Network.
I'm not sure.
You know why Tzvi's down here? Because he's like, where's lunch? Right, Tzvi?
That is exactly
Can we just say, what's your favourite lunch?
What do you mean?
What do you love to eat the most for lunch? I'm putting you on the spot.
That's a tough one. Either sushi or pizza.
Sushi or pizza. So, okay, excellent. Great. We'll be right with you.
Should we take an advertising break?
We'll take an advertising break. What lunch would you like? A sponsored break. Okay, excellent. So women who do it all, make their husbands' lunches, and their whole family.
Like a guy.
Don't you feel like that as women? Like during Corona, we had I was like, you were the lunch lady, you were the school monitor, you made breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
100%. And what I did find, which was so great about Corona, was just that my whole family everybody came in, everybody ended up taking a bowl, somebody took a knife. The only problem that I have, nobody wants to clean up.
Right, right. Yes, yes. It's a challenge in this house too. Okay, so we came down looking for lunch. I'm sorry, everyone comes down looking for lunch in this house. We are actually recording this on a Wednesday around lunchtime, so you're going to be hearing this on Friday morning. But yeah.
But speaking about, so what I want to say, it's actually worked in perfectly, and we were just talking about cleaning up and talking about lunchtime. We were before your husband came down, we were talking about infertility, and I remember one time I was saying Birchat Hamazon, and you know when they say Avraham v'Yitzchak v'Yaakov bakol mikol kol, like if you take a look at what Avraham's call was like, Hashem blessed him in all. What was all of it? That he gave him a child in his own age. And it's so funny that you say that during Birchat Hamazon, because I realized my whole life I was saying that for a bracha to have a child, but at the same time, with the food, I was fighting the food so desperately that I was pushing half that bracha away. And it's so funny because food and Judaism and nourishment and being able to do that it's the basic thing that you do for a child, it's all interwoven. And when you're not at peace with the food, then it all works against each other until you can sort of get that whole part together. And there's a ton of infertility within the frum community, and it goes together with the eating disorders. There's so much research on that.
Wow, this has been really insightful. I did not know a lot of this stuff and people's relationships with food in this way because I didn't have one. I really haven't met someone who's been so open with it. Think of it, I've done over 200 shows. Maybe there are people that have this.
I want you to know that every single time somebody's, I wrote a book, what's it about? How many unsuspecting, very, very slim people that you would never think come to me or will write me a text and say, you don't know, every night I binge on this, that, or the other thing, and I'm waiting for your book, and I'm hoping it will help me.
Fantastic.
And please, it's amazing because it's so shameful that nobody discusses it.
When can we get a hold of this book? What do we need
to
do?
Right now, if you go to bingeandsprint.com, you can just leave your name and your email, and that will put you on a list to be notified when the book comes out. I'm hoping within the next few months.
Yay!
Yay! And there you have it. And then you'll be notified as soon as it's available.
Okay, fantastic. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
I learned a lot.
I'm so happy.
I'm thrilled you reached out.
Thank you. And I just want to say that I'm so thrilled that I am walking out of here with Naomi's Perfect Flavor cookbooks. I'm so excited to run home and make everything in here.
Okay, thank you very much. And there's some really healthy recipes and there's some really
We like a little bit of everything.
Right. See, everything in moderation.
There you go.
Okay, thank you so much.